If you've ever worked in the restaurant industry, you know that it's one of the most unhinged, craziest industries to work in, probably in the entire world. Some of the shit that you see and experience when you're doing that job is genuinely insane. I started working at Olive Garden a little while ago. And even at a place like that, a place that you would think would be unsuspectingly chill, you just serve people pasta. It is chill for the most part. But some of the people that work at these places, especially these servers at these restaurants, because that's what I'm doing, part-time serving, just to make a couple extra dollars here and there. These people are unsettling. Like Uncanny Valley, but I need to buy some beers. That's like the vibe. Like, oh, after work, we're going to go get lit at the club. It's like, dude,
I think you have bigger problems than that.
you're almost 50. I mean, it's not a bad thing to do to make some side money. I feel like people just get lost in that industry and they never find a way to escape it. Imagine doing that when you're supposed to be retiring in 5 to 10 years. And for somebody like me at 23 years old, I'm like, oh, screw this. Like, this isn't going to last very long. But imagine if I just, like, stuck with that for, like, the next 30 years of my life. Or let's say this. Imagine if you just quit around, like, a year or two after you started, and then you find yourself back at that exact same job. I can't even imagine, like, the level of embarrassment I would feel if I spent 30 years of my life working and then all of a sudden I'm coming back to working with a bunch of teenagers again, listening to like the Gen Z bros talk about gooning. And like, even for me as a 23-year-old, I listen to some of the things that these 18 and 19-year-old graduates are talking about, and I'm like, when I was 18 or 19 years old, I was not saying this stuff in public. Like, these kids are unhinged, genuinely. And this is coming from somebody who's barely an adult himself. I'm sure that you've had some horror stories at restaurants as well, but this is supposedly supposed to be one of the greatest restaurants in the area, and I'm still experiencing some weird stuff. Like, for example, the other day, there's this guy. I'm going to use his real name because nobody knows who he is anyways, so it's not a big deal. Just his first name. His first name's Mario. So we got Mario over here, a very expressive individual, but he's also very young. He's like 18 years old. And he is very overprotective of his section, even wants you to like look at it. Like, I swear, if you moved like the salt shaker, he would be upset about that. This specific day, I was working a double, and I grabbed some fries out of the kitchen window because I thought that they were going to be thrown away. I was like, screw it. So I was eating them in the back, and then this girl and then this kid named Mario were ganging up on me, telling everybody that I was stealing and doing all this stuff throughout the entire shift. I went ahead and like addressed that immediately, walked up to the kid and yelled at him because he just wouldn't stop talking about it. Every time that I was doing my job, walking to put the dishes in the bag, the kid was constantly talking about me, staring at me while he was talking. And after about 3 times of that happening, I eventually just blew up at him. Like, I'm talking like a full crash out moment. And I had like a Will Smith moment. I was like, keep my name out of your effing mouth. Supposedly this person ordered these fries. The fries are $3.49. That's literally how much they cost at Olive Garden. $3.49. So this girl got really upset that I had taken her fries, even though I had no idea they were hers. But as soon as I found out, I apologized and actually gave her $5 in cash. So she ended up profiting off of it, reorder the fries, and keep a profit. So for her, it was a W. But they had been there for so long that I figured that they were just going to get thrown out. It's just the most pettiest stuff. Things like this. Or like, for example, the other day we were opening and there was a big top table and it was a slow morning. I had to like fight tooth and nail to get that big top table for myself. Just coincidentally, he was there that day. And for some reason he was like,
Yeah, you can have it.
and I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, it's my turn, buddy. What do you mean I can have it. If you're wondering if that's even food in the grates or if that's like a new species like developing down there, you're stepping in like probably about an inch worth of like gray water. And then you go to the hand washing station, there's no soap and there's no paper towels because the bussers are just not doing shit the whole shift. Or if they are, they're taking like 3 business days to clean one table, so you have to clean and bus your own tables. It's a nightmare. And keep in mind, this is probably one of the best places in the area. Like, working with these teenagers is rough, dude. Like, they will test your patience and make you question if you're willing to sacrifice even just 4 or 5 hours of your day to get farmed emotionally by these children. And you're like, do I want to go make $100 today, or do I want to like do anything else with my day? Because honestly, it is a wager. It's another thing is I like the serving job because of the connections that I can make with not just the people I work with, but the people that I serve as well. Because there's a lot of local business owners in my area, and I'm young. I like to market and get business cards in case I ever need something in the future. You know, a lot of these kids don't do a very good job, so our restaurant doesn't get the best rep. They just come in, they try to get the bag, but they don't actually do the work. So they don't get good reviews, and then they stop the people who you actually want coming in from coming. Because if you do a bad job one time, that person that's a little bit more well off is just going to go to the nicer restaurant, and you just lost somebody that could have given you a $25, $30 tip right there. I don't think the newer generation quite understands that, like, if you just put in the most minimal effort, being nice, smiling, being accommodating, being fast when you go grab people's stuff instead of taking your sweet ass time, talking about like some girl you cracked from fucking a week ago at the club, even though you're supposed to be getting your table breadsticks and salad, like,
You're not gonna get paid, buddy.
what are you doing? This video wasn't really supposed to be about the world and the new generation, but it's slowly turning into that because that's the kind of job that you get when you're like fresh out of high school and you have no idea what you're doing with the rest of your life. Unless you're doing it like part-time like me. Like, don't even get me started on Applebee's. I used to work at a place called Applebee's. Everybody knows what Applebee's is. But Applebee's was like 100 times worse on hard drugs. Like, I have a story about this black dude named Haas. I have a story about this guy, one of my closer friends at the time, Matthew, that was told that he was going to be cut a check to fix the floor in front of the drink machine, and then the next day after he did it, he was fired. The general manager and the assistant manager at that place were like characters out of like My Little Nightmares or something. Like they were like specimens. I don't know what they were. They did not look like human beings. You were lucky if you made $50 in 7 hours at that place. And the only reason I was there was because I was going through a rough patch in my life. And it was my first serving job. So I had absolutely no clue what was good money, what was bad money, what to expect. So they basically just got me to do a bunch of work for like probably less than $10 an hour every day. But I have so many interesting stories to draw from that honestly don't mean anything, but I guess they're good for this channel just because of the fact that I can communicate them to you guys. But I don't know if that's worth the time that I wasted, like 3 or 4 months there. I don't have any advice to give the viewer about working a job like this. I guess the only advice I have is be very observant of how the place runs when you have your interview. If your interview is going well with the managers and they seem like they're not like crazy or they're putting on an act, and you look at the employees and they look like they're like friendly and happy and they're talking to each other, that's probably a good place to work. But if nobody's like talking to each other and everybody's doing their own thing and the managers just like look like they haven't gotten enough sleep in like their entire life, you might want to just say that you forgot your wallet in your car when they ask you for your ID and just drive away, because you're You're gonna save yourself so much bullshit. Unless you have experience and you know what you're looking for and you have a place that can get you in and out in like 3 to 5 hours, do not take the job. Unless you're doing like luxury serving, but that's not what this video is about. This is about restaurants that are slowly dying. The restaurants that you go to when like minimum wage level. Like, I'm not talking like a steakhouse that has a $100 steak on the menu. I'm talking like $15.99 all you can eat wings sort of thing. with the $3 shots that are literally just rubbing alcohol. Because I was also a bartender at Applebee's as well. Free Red Bulls for life, am I right? But that place was falling apart. I'm pretty sure that it had been around for like probably close to 40 years. The building was just falling apart.
It looked like Five Nights at Freddy's, kinda.
Actually, the people that I worked with at Applebee's were very old, and they were very sour, mean people. And as somebody that tries to be really nice and like professional and respectful, because I understand how to make money when it comes to being professional, these people were doing the complete opposite, and they were wondering why they weren't making money. People just sort of expect to be handed money nowadays without actually doing anything. Which, I mean, in some cases that works. If you have a skill that you can provide to somebody that doesn't require a lot of effort, of course. But if you're going to sign up for a job like that, you need to put in some effort. Don't work in the serving industry if you're not ready to be yelled at for little things and disrespected for no reason whatsoever just because somebody's having a bad day. I mean, that's basically customer service, but it's face-to-face at a restaurant while you're wearing an apron. So it's a little bit different than wearing a suit. Your main goal should be to just get in there, run it up as quick as possible, and get out of there. Your coworkers are basically doing the exact same thing, and if they're not, they're just trying to cause drama because they have nothing else better to do. What I do is I just keep my mouth shut, get through it, and then ask to leave. And I roll my silverware while I'm doing the work. And luckily at my location that I work at now, they don't really check to see if the silverware is rolled. But, you know, they check to see if mine's rolled because I only work there like twice a week. They're waiting for me to come in because they're miserable ass people. So they're just looking for a reason to like make me stay longer because I think they're like farming my energy or something. That's like a whole theory I have on this stuff. I feel like people that are happy have their energy farmed at any possible moment because the misery in this world right now is at an all-time high, and people will do anything just to get a little hit of somebody else's energy. The other day I was driving to Walmart and a guy drove by my car. Like he was okay, so I was going straight and he was driving horizontally as I was about to pull in. I watched him have a full, like, crash out moment in his car where he literally just, like, screamed at the top of his lungs and threw his hands in the air, like, off the steering wheel and everything. And I was like, that guy is having the worst day of his life, and I'm over here going to go buy a watermelon and some peanut butter. And then it gave me a profound perspective on my life and the day in general. I was like, I need to be a little bit more grateful that I'm not in that situation, at least anymore. Things for people right now are hard, and I have no animosity towards anybody that's trying to make it through. I'm not trying to laugh at anybody, and I'm not trying to disrespect that guy, but it just, the reason I laugh about it is because I was there at one point, and now I'm not, and I feel kind of bad. And I guess my response to uncomfortable conversations is to, like, laugh, and that's, like, a thing about me. When I have an uncomfortable thing that I don't really like to express, I sort of giggle about it, and it's usually a very serious topic, and that's not, I don't want my audience to think that I'm laughing at people. I'm not trying to do that. It's just that when I talk about something uncomfortable, that's what I tend to do psychologically. So if you do hear me do something like that, that's why. It's not because I'm trying to make fun of people. The funny thing is that the story with Mario doesn't actually end. Just about a week ago, he ended up getting fired after working an entire shift in the morning. And before he got removed from the server group chat, he sent this message, and he said something along the lines of, some of y'all fake, some of y'all cool, I'm out, peace, XOXO, because he was that kind of guy. And there was a bunch of people like praising the dude despite the fact that he was getting fired and he got removed from the group chat. It's like, that's the moment that I realized that I wasn't the one that was causing a problem, because I looked at myself in the mirror later on and I was like, was I the one that made a mistake here? Like, am I just like a bad person? Is that why this person doesn't like me? But then sure enough, less than 2 weeks later, they end up getting fired because somebody complained about them and reported them. So, I mean, the story doesn't end on a good note for him, but when you try to make a big deal out of a little thing, people tend not to like you that much, because nobody wants to go to work and deal with a drama fest every single day. We just want to go there, make our money, and leave, because a lot of us have more important things to worry about, honestly, in our day-to-day lives. But yeah, don't go into serving unless you have a plan or you have something you're saving up for. Or if you're trying to make connections with people. Making connections with people is going to do nothing but help you out. But I have so many more stories from Applebee's. I don't have a lot of stories from Olive Garden, but Applebee's definitely. I'm going to have to write some of them down. But I wanted to get this video out quick for you guys, because I knew that I wanted to be consistent on this channel. I'm going to be trying to post about twice a week. That's the video.